Oh, oh, okay. Welcome back to Elizabeth Plants. I'm Elizabeth, and today we are talking about Lecca. So I kind of alluded to, I believe it was in my house tour video, that I was testing out Lecca with some of my plants, and today we're going to do an update. So let's just jump into it. One of the first plants I wanted to get into Lecca and got into Lecca right away is this guy right here, my umbrella plant. So I'm not entirely sure what happened to it. It was thriving, it was growing, and then it continued to kind of be okay and grow, and then just dropped half of its leaves off of the bottom. This, maybe 6 months ago, was all full and lush down at the bottom as well, and there was actually 2 small stalks with variegated umbrella plant that were also in here. And it all just fell when I got the cats. Kind of delayed fashion, so I decided to put this guy in Lecca. So if I pull him out of the cash pot, you will see that he is in Lecca and due for kind of a rinse through. I didn't keep track of when I put all of these guys in Lecca, so I'm not quite sure how long he's been in here. A month maybe, a month and a half. Okay. Table is a bike. Not a real bike, it's like made on top of an old bike, and I just smashed my knee on the pedal. So if you want to see what my table looks like, go check out my house tour. Back to what I was talking about. So this umbrella plant, when I stuck it in Lecca, stopped dropping leaves for the most part. Honestly, I want to say like it just straight up stopped, but I don't think that's accurate. But for the most part, it stopped dropping leaves almost entirely. So this I'm counting as a success. It's also starting to grow up at the top again. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see without me dumping, but right here, there's a whole bunch of light colored leaves that are new, and you can see that little one right there, some little leaves. So I'm considering him to be a success. The same day I put him in Lecca, I put my obtusifolia in Lecca as well. As you'll know, this guy featured in my favorites video, I want to say at the end of 2019, because he just looked so cool. And he was like doing some funky, crazy stuff, and I just loved it and found him to be really easy. Well, I should have not said anything, because almost immediately after my cats knocked him off of my fridge, they had just learned how to jump up onto the countertops and to the fridge, and I had not had time to adjust my plants yet, and they knocked him off and broke off a whole bunch of stalks, a whole bunch of leaves, and he just continued to go downhill from there. So I decided to put him in Lecca because I know that they propagate really well in water, and I wasn't ready to chop him up yet. And he's been doing pretty okay. He has stopped dying, but he hasn't done a ton of growing. Now, with that being said, very, very recently, he has started, you can see that, those little leaves, doing little growths. There's some right there, right here. And so, and kind of at the end of that, you can see it, there is one, yeah, right there. So these little growths are super new and super fragile, and I'm hoping them the best, but I am going to call this Lecca a success as well, because we stopped dying, and even though it's little and it's slow, we have started growing. So he is also in need of kind of cleaning out the Lecca, pulling off the dead roots at this point in time, and so it's kind of next on the to-do, but he is a success at this moment. The next plant I put into Lecca is not doing as well. Now my micans, just kind of, I want to say it got bugs of some kind, and I didn't catch them in time. It doesn't have any anymore that I can find, but it's been kind of sparse ever since. And so I thought it would be a great idea to stick him in water, and that did not seem to be working. So I thought, okay, well, then I'll try something else. Most of this one's kind of rotting and needs to be kind of taken care of. But most of his branches look like this. We don't have very many leaves. So I hesitate to call this one a success because at one point it attempted to grow. I don't think you can see that there's a little growth at the end of this dead branch that I am pulling out. So it attempted to grow for like a minute and then stopped, and it's been kind of at a standstill ever since. Now I have not pulled him out of Lecca because he hasn't gotten worse. So I know it looks really bad, but since I put him in at Lecca, he's been kind of at a standstill of half dead, half alive. And then when I went to go grab him off the shelf for this video, I started noticing that he's actually beginning to grow again, kind of at the ends of everything. And he's not like super cute, but he's coming back. So I plan on kind of re-cleaning his water, re-rinsing off his Lecca, sticking him back in because I really struggled to get him to stay in the Lecca, and then just like cross my fingers and hope. So this one's not a success, but it is not a fail. It is a work in progress, but he has been in Lecca almost as long as this guy has been. So it's been a slower process for him. The next plant that I put in Lecca is this guy. So this Calathea, I stuck in Lecca and nothing changed. I mean, he was doing okay before, but I know that he is a humidity loving plant, and so I decided he would probably benefit as a trial. He's also like not my favorite plant, and he wasn't super expensive to get. So if something went wrong, I felt comfortable testing on this guy. And there's been ultimately no changes for the most part. He was slowly growing when I put him in Lecca, and he has continued his slow growth since. We've actually got, within the past maybe week, a new growth right there, if you can see that. So that's really cool. So I think this one's a success. He didn't have any moments where he like kind of fell off. He also was not struggling before I put him in. Overall, he seems to be doing really well and loving it. So success, we're keeping him in Lecca. Next, the next 4 plants that I'm going to talk about, I don't remember the order I put them in Lecca, but I do know that one of the first ones of these 4 was my neon philodendron. So I don't know if I mentioned it on my channel or in what video, but this guy, he fell off my shelf at one point. I don't think it was the cats. I think he just got bumped or something, and then nobody fixed him and gravity took hold. But he was not doing great in dirt ever since his fall, and that made me really sad. And yeah, he's easy to replace, but he's got a little bit of variegation on him, and so I feel very attached to his bits of variegation. So I didn't want to lose him, and so I stuck him in Lecca, and he stopped dying. That's kind of the theme here, is when I stuck a lot of my plants in Lecca, they stopped dying. Not necessarily growth, but not death. So I'm counting this as a success, and I'm going to show him off. So this little leaf right here is new. We've got some growth right there, if you can see that coming in. And then that new leaf I showed you is also growing a new leaf. So I think that he's actually preferring to be in the Lecca, and I just kind of refill his Lecca, or his water, once it dries up. I keep him in this. He's the only of these plants that is not in like one of these white pots you've seen everywhere. So yeah, another success. And let me know in the comments below if you want to hear about my Lecca process. It's probably the least detail oriented of any you've seen on YouTube so far. I kind of don't follow any rules and just do it my own way. and it seems to be working for me. Granted, I'm mostly doing this with plants that were A, struggling, or B, water propagatable anyways. So yeah, anyways, next plant. I believe this is a variegated obtusifolia, but it doesn't look super similar to another variegated obtusifolia that I have had in the past. I put him in Lecca. Now, I also took cuttings from him. He was falling and dying fast. He just like started rotting out of nowhere. I don't know if my cat peed in the pot or what, or started like, I don't know if they just like ripped up enough of the roots, because I should clarify, my cats don't eat my plants. They knock them over, step on them, jump on them, lay on them, roll on them, and dig up the dirt. So they do everything they can to ruin a plant but eat it. Because I know that these guys aren't super pet friendly, I don't believe. But my cats don't eat them. They only eat palms, or they only try to eat palms. So that's not what I know that that's not what they did with this guy. But since I put him in Lecca, we've got this growth right here. It's super funky, but I kind of love it. And then in front of it is another growth. Then if you can look down in the pot, we've got this growth right here. And then I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Here. But then I've got this little growth right here. And the new growths are super variegated compared to like the adult leaves, which are pretty dark actually. So that's really awesome. And so I know that he is loving it, and I'm so excited for him to continue growing, and eventually the cuttings that I have, and I filmed a video with them in it, but I don't know if that one will be live by the time this one goes up. But those cuttings will be added to the Lecca once their roots get a little bit stronger, because this is the original plant where the roots were already pretty established. I've got two more. I'll try and move a little faster. But so this is my Scindapsus pictus. This is my very first houseplant ever, and he was doing really awesome in the hallway, and then fall hit and he just declined super fast, and I started panicking, and so I snipped him up and stuck him in water. And so after a while in water, he was like not dying but not growing really, and every time that I thought he was starting to grow, it would die. So I felt like kind of defeated when it came to this plant. So I decided I would stick him in Lecca, and he has done nothing but grow. So all of this down here is new since Lecca. All of this, like, all of these right here. Any smaller leaf is new from him being in Lecca. All of these growths right here that I'm touching, all new since being in Lecca. And mind you, I put all of these plants in Lecca in winter in Michigan. Like, they should have been dormant. And I probably should have been smarter about it, but it worked. And so I'm not gonna tell you not to do it the way I did it, because it's working for me in my environment. But he is absolutely thriving, so keeping him in Lecca. We're not changing anything up, we're just gonna keep him here. And then the last plant that I want to talk to you about is my green variegated syngonium. I'm not sure if that's the official name, but I got him, I can't remember how I got him. I want to say it was Gabriella Plants. I could be lying, I don't remember. But he was kind of underwhelming. He just kind of looks like a green syngonium for the most part, and so I was, and he had a lot of variegated leaves, but those ones didn't make it very long, and so he kind of came down to just these plants. And I don't know if I overwatered him, underwatered him, if he got bugs. I don't really remember. He just started declining so fast, and I kind of put off fixing it for a long time because, I don't know, I just didn't have time or whatever. And then maybe 2 weeks ago, I had decided finally to take some time out of my day, put him in Lecca, and we've been doing a lot better since. So this is kind of the only adult variegated leaf left. And I believe this one as well he had before. And since putting him in Lecca, we have gained this leaf, which I believe will be highly variegated. This leaf that's unfurling kind of right here in the center, I can't really tell yet. Then down here, we've got this new growth popping in right here, and this little one right here. So he seems to be enjoying kind of the Lecca life quite a bit more than he was enjoying soil life, and I do think he probably got bugs or something, and I just didn't pay close enough attention. But he doesn't have them anymore, and he's thriving, and that's all of the plants that I have tested Lecca on. I have not had any complete failures at all yet. So I've been super lucky. I'm apparently doing something right. I love this method. I wish I could put all of my plants in this method, but I also love like dirt. Honestly, what I'm doing with a lot of my plants for the sake of my cats digging in dirt is I'm not filling them up completely with dirt, and I'm putting a layer of Lecca on top because I think it looks really nice, and also the cats don't care for the Lecca a ton. They might like pull a piece out and bop it around the house for a while, but they get bored really quick and they don't have any interest in digging in it unless they know that there is dirt below it. So I found that to be really successful. If you want to know kind of my Lecca process, let me know in the comments below. If you have any more insights, maybe some tips, some tricks, some things that have worked for you, some plant successes and fails that you've had, let's talk about it in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Which of these plants is your favorite? Subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when I post next time. See you next time.